Hello, everyone. Welcome and welcome back to the Book Witches podcast. Welcome. So today we'll be discussing the classic science fiction novel Dune by Frank Herbert. It was written in 1965. So Dune has been like a foundational story to inspire some like modern sci-fi, like Star Wars, Star Trek, Nazca of the Valley of the Wind, if you're a Miyazaki fan, and even like Futurama. So it is like foundational, and that's it. Basically, most galactic travel has been inspired by Dune, and that's what encouraged me to read it. To read this like classic science fiction.
And I was surprised to find out how early it was written, like in the 60s. I thought maybe 80s, or I guess maybe I thought like before Star Wars 70s, but
Right.
yeah,
I
it's been
know.
around for a while.
A lot of science fiction I've read in like the 60s are like still kind of, I don't know, they're kind of sexist, to be honest. And there's a little hint of it in Dune, but it goes with the story. But
We'll get into it. I definitely think there's some dated stuff in Dune.
right. Wait, so
Yeah,
Alex,
we'll
what
get in.
inspired you? What inspired you to read Dune?
It was on my list for a while, but then when you told me that you were reading, I'm like, oh, I gotta get on it and read it. But yeah, the same kind of thing. I think I got into sci-fi last year. When I started reading more of Andy Weir's stuff. So like Project
Oh
Hail
yeah.
Mary, which I loved, and then I read The Martian, which I also loved, not as much as Project Hail Mary, but and then I read Artemis by him, which was really cool because that has a female lead. And I just, yeah, fell in love with it. I never really grew up reading or watching too much of sci-fi. So, but definitely always been open to it, and I really enjoyed it. And so I
Right.
was like, yeah, just I also happen to know that Dune is a foundational book, and I definitely give props to it for being that
Yeah.
base for an inspiration for all the future sci-fi books and
Right.
movies. So,
Yeah, I think that's the biggest one for me because personally, like, I'm not a big person into like galactic sci-fi. Like, I'll do a Frankenstein sci-fi, but I'm not really into. I was kind of forced to watch Star Wars. A couple of my ex and my current husband love Star Wars, so I like have to watch them now. But
they're not all created equal either.
right. And like the science fiction, I've read like a few classics, like the Time Traveler. I forgot. I don't know. It's just sexist for me. It's kind of giving me a bitter taste, but I love Dune because Dune. It's not a lot of it is in space, like transporting whatever. There is
Sure.
galactic travel, but this book is mainly like in on Dune. We see that in like I watched the movies, the recent movies with Timothy Chimney Sweep, which we
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan.
no, he's trash.
I did not have an opinion until he started opening his mouth more and more lately. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, is this your girlfriend's influence or have you always kind of been an asshole?
Right, like the Kardashian gross disease has rubbed off on him. But like
Ugh,
he's like
yeah.
talking trash on like ballet and opera,
Opera.
these like ancient art forms that
He wouldn't even
require
be around if
like
it weren't for those forms of art. You know,
yeah,
they're
right.
like the base for all actors, and that's what started.
Right. It's oh my god. But so the third movie is supposed to come out and technically the first two movies is the first book and the last one is the third book, which I don't know why they're doing it that way. And but I did
What did you think of the movies compared to the books? Did you think that the movies were a good depiction of the books, or
um
did it kind of stray from the story a bit? Because I haven't watched the movies yet.
also we also watched the old like
Oh,
90s Dune movie. That's that's a trip. Objectively the first old Dune movie is terrible. It's awful. as a movie, but it's like psychedelic because there's a lot of like this, the main thing, the spice melange kind of puts you in a trance, and so there's just like things fading in and out. It's just like sparkles and like weird stuff going on, which I
Wow.
think they should have like involved more in the new movies. It wasn't psychedelic at all, which they could have done, but with the new Dune movies, it's it's mainly definitely like just vibes, like desert vibes. There's just like shots of dunes and the wind and the sand blowing for like a minute, which is nice. It's good to have that like space. Since it's a pretty complicated story and it has a lot of like different aspects going on. But I enjoyed it despite not liking Chimney Sweep. And also Chani, what's her name? The actress's name?
Zendaya?
Yeah, Zendaya. I think she's a good actress, but she doesn't seem like she belongs in this role, to be honest, as the
Really?
main love interest of the main character of Dune. She's giving Hollywood like casual when she's playing a character that has like an ingrained traditional culture, and like a lot of them have accents, and she's just like, what's up with that or something, and I'm just like, you don't go here, bro.
You weren't convinced
I know.
by her depiction.
But of course, as a book nerd, I highly suggest reading the book before watching the movies,
Yeah,
because
always.
some of the people I know who watch the movies without reading the book, they're just like, I don't know what's going on, to be honest. And so reading the book's important. So the story takes place in this far future, like feudal galaxy ruled by noble houses under the rule of the Padishah Emperor, and it's kind of like, well, it's kind of like the working government of the U.S. if it worked, but there's like a balance of power between the emperor, the Imperium, the Emperor, and the great houses, and the like Chome Company, which is like the spacing guild, and all of this is able to run because of the spice melange, which is this spice drug that is made on Arakis, aka Dune, the planet that this takes place. And it's so the Emperor kind of transferred control of Arrakis. There's a house that like controls the planet from the House Harkonnen to House Atreides, and the Harkonnen house is like a mortal enemy of the House Atreides. House Atreides is where Paul, the main character, comes from, and even though it seems like a good transfer of wealth, it is to set up a trap, and so we'll get more into it. This happens on like the first chapter of the book.
Yeah, a lot of politics.
Right. Yes, it's very complicated, and there's like themes of like coming of age, specifically with Paul, environmental resources, like the spice melange. I would almost compare it to like the oil industry, and the power that comes from like this single resource, and another theme is like inevitability or fate that comes up.
Let's talk a little bit about the names.
Yeah.
I thought I got a really big kick out of, I mean, there is like all of these fantasy sci-fi names, like, right? Even when we're talking about the Harkonnens, the House of Atreides, the Fremen, and then there's Paul and Jessica.
I know it's very, very white, stereotypical. Like, isn't this? Maybe it's supposed to be relatable or something, but I know it
I
kind of
just think
takes
it's
you out of it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Paul. I don't know. I don't know. It's not like the name that I would think of like the main character of this like, house that's supposed to like save everybody. Oh, that's just Paul. Like,
Paul.
I'm sorry to all the Pauls out there, okay? It's not a
and
dig at you guys, but I just
and
feel
his
like they
mom. his mom Jessica, you
Yeah,
know.
because she's a Bene Gesserit and all this stuff, but she's Jessica. It's just funny to me.
It's easy to remember those two names, but yeah, it kind of takes you out of it a little bit of that sci-fi fantasy.
A little, yeah. I
Um,
just a little note, just a little comment that I had to give on that because I was just like, as I'm reading along, I'm like, what?
to go back to like the power dynamic of the
Hmm.
galaxy, I understood. I thought the emperor kind of controlled everything, but he doesn't. And it's that balance of power because in the beginning he just like orders House Atreides, which is Paul's house, to administer over Dune, and I'm like, oh, he just does that, okay. But I think because it's the House Harkonnen is kind of like working with the Emperor, or like they have their own agenda going, so it turns out to be this like huge trap for Lord Leto, which is the Lord of
Trades.
House Atreides. Jesus, there's
Paul's
gonna
dad.
Paul's dad.
And important to note too that Paul is a teenager when the story begins. Right?
Yes,
He's young. He's very young and he's like been raised he's been trained in combat and mystical disciplines because we mentioned his mother Jessica, she's the concubine to Duke Leto and they're not married officially
but they
and
do love
that's
each other.
they love each other. It's a real love match. But the kind of the once again the politics kind of come into play, and the reason that's given why they're not married is for him to be free to make potential political alliances. So that's the only reason. But I feel like she's a little salty about not being married to him, because obviously that kind of just always keeps her as a status as a concubine. But so anyways, just to quickly kind of because this is like really in the beginning of the book, I think it's important to mention is that so she's something called a Bene Gesserit.
They're like a female prophet almost, like the witches of the
Yes.
galaxy.
Yes. They have the ability to manipulate like through the voice. They like are they're almost like trained like what you would think of in Star Wars like the Jedis a little bit. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
of like meditation and like mental tricks and picking up on like micro expressions and tones of voice and
Right.
they're
I
very
know.
powerful and it's a very feminine
Right, because they
order.
only it's only females.
Yeah.
And Paul's mom is like part of this Bene Gesserit order, and she just decides to have a male, and they're like, "You're not supposed to do that."
Which is weird, right? Like the fact that they can choose the gender of their
Right,
child. They're just like this is going to be a boy and bam, that's it. And
I
she
don't
wanted
know.
a son. They
Right,
wanted her to have a girl, right?
right. Like there's this ancient prophecy of like the what Quasic Hatterax, this like person who's gonna bring up change into the galaxy, and it's gonna be
Mhm.
male, and he's gonna be a Bene Gesserit. So there's already this prophecy before Paul is born, and then Jessica's like, I'm gonna have a boy regardless of like anyone, they're telling me to have a girl, but then they're like, no, you shouldn't, like you went against the order. But it's like, this is don't you want this? Like this is part of the prophecy. What?
And there's definitely some like religious themes that are happening because the Bene
Yes.
Gesserits to me are very they read as very Catholic to me.
Yeah.
Even the name like reminds me of like the Jesuits.
Right.
Um, and like and the women who are kind of like in charge, like the head prophets are called Reverend Mothers, which that is like the nuns in Catholicism are
Right.
also called that. So I found that really interesting, that there is that flavor thrown in there.
Right.
There's a lot of like cultural like mixtures in this book. Like to me, it's
Yeah.
very a lot of like Arab influence in Dune throughout, like the types of names that they use throughout.
Yeah.
And there's
Definitely.
that, but then mixed with the Catholic, and yeah, it's really interesting.
Right. Well, talking about cultures, so House Atreides, where Paul is from, is a planet with water, like jungle, trees, and all of that. And he's learning about Dune, Arrakis. And Arrakis, there's no water. There's like not even rain, and so it's a complete desert. And so the culture is like significantly different, which I think kind of plays into like the Arab kind of going into like the desert cultures, right? Trying to play off
Totally.
of that.
Totally.
But
And the water is so scarce that they like have these special machines, right, to collect the water just from the atmosphere. And they wear
yeah,
special suits to like repurpose their sweat, right? Am I
and their
correct in that?
urine,
And their
feces,
urine, everything. It's that scarce. It never rains there. It is dry as a bone.
right? Like the water that might be discarded is like as much as a thimble, but like it recycles everything. And they would die without these suits, and they're like essential to live on Arrakis.
And even when somebody dies, they repurpose the dead body for the fluids because that's how desperate they are for
Right.
it. So nothing is wasted. And so that is a huge culture shock, definitely, for Paul and his mom, Jessica, when they moved there because, and there's parts where they talk about their home planet and how it rains and there's lush greenery everywhere. And everyone's like,
Water
what?
falls from the sky?
Yeah, they
What?
can't even believe it. So
It reminds me
kind of,
of
yeah.
like there's one scene where a person from Fremen comes into a meeting with like with Leto, Paul's dad, and they're trying to find alliance. And then the Fremen like spits on like in front of him on the table, and everyone's like, "Hey!" like getting aggravated. But then Leto's like, "No, thank you for blessing us with your water
Yeah,
because
it's
water's
actually
sacred."
and the Fremen are the native people of Arrakis, by the way.
Yes.
And they're very mysterious, powerful desert dwellers. They have these crazy blue eyes, which I guess comes from ingesting the spice, the melange.
Yes. So Paul is like prepping, learning about the culture. And before, I think once they arrive, right, because of this prophecy, Bene Gesserit prophecy, the ultimate, like the Reverend Mother of the Emperor comes in and tells Jessica, like, we need to test your son to see if he's really gonna fulfill this prophecy. If he is, I doubt he is going to fulfill
And
this
if he's
prophecy.
human, which is interesting, right? Like this determines if he's actually human.
I think it's like cuz animals run from pain and only intellectuals can like withstand it, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting.
And the test is he has to put his hand in a box while the Mother like puts up like a poison injection up to his throat, and if he pulls his hand out, she like kills him. And it's like this intense pain, like his hands on fire, it's like burning to the bone, and then she's like, "Okay, you're done." And he pulls out, it's like, "Oh, I'm fine."
Hmm. And so that determines that he is a Bene Gesserit at that point, right?
Yes.
Or he's
Yeah,
one of
that
them.
he's one of them. Right.
Well, his mom Jessica has taught him a lot of the ways.
Right, she's teaching him into like using the voice. Just a couple to mention a couple characters that are in Leto's House Atreides like clan is Gurney Halleck. Like he's
Hmm.
one of the top soldiers of Atreides. He is like the most one of the most powerful. He teaches Paul to with personal shields and shields and also sword fighting, because in this world many people use like it's like a shield that goes over your body that like protects you from physical damage, but in Dune, because of the sand and the electromagnetic storms that they have a lot on their planet, people don't use guns, or like las guns sometimes is mentioned, because it like causes the gun and the shield to explode, like it's like a nuclear explosion, which is mentioned later. But Gurney Halleck is one of the top soldiers. He's like sings songs, recites poetry. He's kind of like a little bit of comic relief. We have Duncan, Idaho, possibly the best.
Another great name.
Right, I know. Idaho is like, okay, how you doing?
Doesn't
Yeah.
he? I was gonna say, doesn't he sound like a cowboy? Sounds like what are they? Like a rodeo star.
Right. I know, Duncan, Idaho. Giddy up, partner. Okay. Another one of Paul's like teachers, and he's sent to Arrakis early just to set up that relationship with the Fremen. We have Hawat, which is an Atreides mentat. So to explain what
Computer.
mentat is, that human supercomputer, right? Another teacher to Paul. So he has like three teachers that are crucial into the story. And then we have Dr. Yue, a Suk doctor. He's supposedly uncorruptible because of like empirical conditioning. Kind of thought of as like, I don't know, like a yogi. Like you wouldn't expect a yogi to go out and murder, right? Like he's uncorruptible. And he is, you find out early on as the reader that he is gonna sabotage House Atreides once they're on Arrakis on Dune.
Freaking Judas.
I know. Judas.
Judas.
Everyone's on Arrakis now. It's a crucial part. They're getting to know the Fremen. The Fremen are like these native desert dwellers of Arrakis. They use still suits. I was forgetting the name. To conserve water, and the number of Fremen are severely underestimated. Like the Harkonnens who controlled Arrakis before, they're like, oh yeah, there's like a couple thousand Fremen. Like, doesn't matter. But we found out there's like millions of them, like underground, just this political thing going on. And they're hardy. They're like fierce fighters.
Yeah, they're awesome. They've really adapted to the climate of Dune. They're badass. I like
Right.
them.
I know there's a mention that like, oh yeah, the climate of Dune, it like makes you the better fighter, because when you get comfortable on a water planet, you get like soft. And I'm like, shit, all right. I think they're compared to the like, there's another prisoner planet that are said to be like the best fighters, but the Fremen like kick their ass. Yeah, and do you want to talk about the sandworms?
Yeah, so Arrakis has these gigantic ass sandworms, which I could only think, you know what it made me think of like the entire time was the sandworms from Beetlejuice,
Yeah.
which I later found out that was a precursor, that was an inspiration that was used for Beetlejuice.
Oh really? Oh
Yeah, they
dang.
don't look the same. They don't look the same. Like the sandworms in
Right.
Beetlejuice are like the black and white, like striped ones. But yeah, and these are like massive, ugly. I mean, they're giant. So that's a constant danger. By the way, they're like constantly monitoring whether these sandworms, right, are gonna attack.
Right.
But then they later, like Paul learns how to ride them,
Yeah. Well,
which is
'cause
really interesting.
right, they're like trying to harvest the uh the drugs, the
Or
spice.
they try and steal it, right?
Yeah, they're harvesting the spice, and but any like movement alerts a sandworm, and so they
Right.
have like, oh, 10 minutes, we gotta go in. They have this whole ship thing that goes down, lands, all right, get the spice, and then they have to leave.
And by the way, the spice is like in everything. They put it in like their food and their drink, and so everybody who lives on Arrakis like ingests this spice. And the spice itself, it's everybody likes it because it extends life, and it's also what helps to enable space travel. So it's a really powerful thing, like Inez mentioned, definitely kind of parallel to like the oil industry. I mean, minus, we're not ingesting refined oil necessarily, but it is in our
Junk food.
products.
Junk food has got petroleum in it, a lot of like
Well, that's a
super
good point.
processed.
That's a good point. And then it is in our like our a lot of cosmetics, like mineral oil, for example, is a byproduct of petroleum production. A lot of people might not know that, so always
It's in
good to know.
everything.
It's
Everything.
yeah. Plastics kind it come from oil production too as well. So
Right.
it's yeah, I would definitely say it's parallel. It's a really good note that that's it compares to our world. So
Yeah. And I think the same, there's like that same power behind it too, since, I mean, since we've like incorporated oil and plastic into like everything of our lives, taking that away, like whoever has the power to destroy the resource has the power over everything, I think is
mhm.
mentioned in the book, right? So whoever like has the power of the sandworms like
It's
control
interesting
everything.
to see, we're recording this episode at the end of March, and with everything that's going on right now in the world, it's really interesting because we're experiencing that scarcity of oil and the price of oil going up right now because of certain decisions that have been made, certain stupid decisions that have been made. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not even going to get into that part of it, but like especially if you live in like California, like gas is over $6 now. We're seeing that thank God I have a electric vehicle. Shout out to the
Yeah.
EVs. So anyway, it's yeah, we rely on it and it's important to everything. So same with the
Right.
spice melange.
Right. It's it's wild. And I don't know, you learn about it later, but at this point the houses that are not native to Arrakis, they don't realize that the spice comes from the sandworms. Like because the Harkonnens are like, why haven't you wiped out the sandworms? Like just kill them all. And then one of the environmental advocates are like, no, it's too hard. They're like, no, it's too hard. We can't. It's too difficult. But really, it's like sandworms. Literally, it's like their waste product is the spice.
Well, so let's get into a little bit more of the plot because, so the one of the main reasons that the Lady Jessica and Paul end up on Arrakis is because Paul's father is the head of the House of Atreides, Duke Leto. He moves them to Arrakis from Caladan, which is their home planet. And so as soon as they get there, though, they've realized that, oh, we're in danger. Pretty much as soon
Yeah.
as they get there, like there's I forget what it's called. There's like this little like thing that
Oh
ends up in
yeah.
Paul's room trying to like assassinate him.
There's like a little like, and then like the Reverend Mother says something like, "Oh, there's nothing you can do for your father, Duke Leto," and it's like you've already claimed him as dead. So there's like all these hints that that something's gonna be sabotaged and Leto's gonna die just to take down House Atreides once they arrive at
Which,
Dune.
spoiler alert, that does happen. He gets captured and killed.
Right.
Really sad. Because he's a good guy. Let's establish the House of Atreides, they're like the good guys in the story.
Right.
So we root for them. We want them to win. They're
Yeah,
also
and
like the Jedis of like Star Wars, if you're looking at parallels, right?
yeah, and Duke Leto, like he's actually there's like a few chapters with him. Like the first book has him before he dies, but he actually wants to create a relationship with the Fremen. Like he wants to work with the natives
Mhm.
on the land and like create a relationship and like benefit. Even though there is a pressure to create the spice, he's like there's a scene that comes in where they're showing him like the spice, how they harvest it, and a sandworm's coming, and what Leto and Paul are in like a ornithopter, kind of like a helicopter that looks like a dragonfly, and they're like, "Oh, a sandworm's coming," and the workers in the sand harvester are like, There's so much spice, like we're gonna keep going, like don't worry about it." And then Leto's like, "No, I demand, as the Duke, you need to leave, like right now." And so he lands and he just puts everyone on and he sacrifices that spice harvest for the Fremen, which kind of shows he's like, okay, you're cool.
He
You actually
values the
care.
people over the spice. Yeah,
Right.
that's a big deal.
Yeah.
So he's a good guy. I feel like he's a good leader. He's benevolent. He's a good father, and he's also a good husband. Even though it's that he's not married to Jessica, like we mentioned, it's a love match, and he does really genuinely love her and cares about her. And so we're sad when he dies.
Right. Yeah, and she loves him too. I think that there's like, and I want to just mention like it's the Harkonnen house that is like trying to sabotage that gets Leto killed because they want the spice power, right?
Yeah, they're the bad guys.
And just to go over the Harkonnens, so the main head of the Harkonnens is the Baron, which is this like in the book he's like
Of course his name is Vladimir.
yeah.
No surprise there.
But he's gross. Like in the book, he's like this like huge, he uses like anti-gravity to lift him up because he can't move himself. He has this weird like young boy fetish. It's like it's really
Bro,
gross.
Jabba the Hutt,
Literally.
right?
Oh my god.
Donald Trump.
Yes, exactly.
Down to the little boy fetish. Oh, sorry.
It's like he's like looking at his own nephew. It's disgusting. Thank God they don't really show that in the movie.
He's gnarly. Freaking pedo.
Right. But he has the Emperor's support. So the Emperor's kind of like supporting the Harkonnens more than Atreides, which gets Leto killed. And so the tiny drone that almost kills Paul is a hunter seeker.
Oh, right.
But so the Baron like orders before House Atreides comes in, he orders the spice harvesting to be sabotaged. There's like sown distrust between like the Duke, Leto, Jessica, Hawa, and everyone to be like, are you the traitor? Like, are you the traitor? Just to sow like that distrust.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so Dr. Yue is the one who his wife is being held by the Baron. And he's like, hopefully she's still alive, but I have to kill Leto just to see my wife again.
And he kind of uses that as his kind of excuse.
Right.
Why he betrays.
I know. He didn't have to, but again, it's the whole prophecy. It wouldn't happen and whatever. It like... But, so Dr. Yue kills Leto with a like injected sedative, but he's like, I'm gonna put a poison in your tooth to maybe so when you get close enough to the Baron you'll be able to kill him. It doesn't happen.
So Leto knows he's gonna die.
Right. Leto knows.
That's messed up.
I know.
And he just accepts his fate.
Right. Well, Leto ends up he gets him. The Baron like talks to Leto close to be like, "Haha, I got you," and then Leto's like still kind of drugged out, but he's like
crunch.
Yeah, crunch. He kills the Baron's like second right hand man, but doesn't end up killing the Baron, unfortunately. In the meantime,
Mother Trucker gets away.
Right, so close. But in the meantime, Paul and Jessica are abducted. But they get a letter from Dr. Yue being like, I'm sorry I had to do this, but here, like, please, like, get away. Like, I know you'll be able to get away from being abducted. And so Paul and Jessica are sent into the desert to be killed, but they get away from their captors. But then they have to, like, they're in the desert. But Dr. Yue like puts in like a couple still suits and like a special tent that you have to use in the desert that like it also captures your moisture, but like you go in and out of this like sphincter, so all of the sand goes in. It's kind of funny.
Even the sandworms look a little rectalish, don't they?
Yeah, I mean they're worms. They gotta have those rings.
There's a lot of poop themes. Spice comes from the poop of the worms. The worms themselves look like colons,
Ugh. With
sphincters of the tent. I'm just saying.
right. Another theme.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh my god. And so as what Paul and Jessica are trying to survive in the desert, the Atreides armies are being attacked by like the Emperor, and Paul's three teachers flee. They live somehow throughout this war. This is the first war of the book where the Atreides is overthrown, and then the Harkonnen is put into power once again of Atreides, which kind of sucks. But I also want to mention Kynes. So Kynes is the like environmental advocate for the Emperor. He's not a Fremen native, but is he a Fremen native? He works for the Emperor, but he's like solely for the environment. He's like, no, you can't kill the worms, and he actually helps Jessica and Paul survive the the attack. Paul and Jessica like find him, and then he's like, take this ornithopter and like fly into the sandstorm because they won't be able to follow you. And so the Harkonnens are like, oh, Paul and Jessica are dead because they flew into the storm, and like, how could you survive that? But little do you know, all the information the Fremen have about the storms, they survive it.
So at this point, it goes kind of from political intrigue to survival and transformation.
Yes.
This point of the story. This is towards the end of book 1, right?
Yes, and there's 3 books within the first book.
Yeah, so Kynes is a Fremen.
Yes.
And he actually helps Paul and Jessica with their escape.
Right.
He like sacrifices himself.
Yeah. There's
Another
like a
good guy.
Right. There's a chapter he has where I think they like beat him up and they throw him out in the desert and he's like dying.
Oh, right, he accepts his
really
fate and he
sad.
like buries himself, right, in the sand.
Yeah. There's like a specific sand that like
It just like consumes him.
well, you can't escape it. There's like specific sand that where I don't know if it's like air bubbles from the sandworms or something, but it like collapses, and so anything on top will like just sink into the sand, like quicksand.
Yeah.
And that's how he dies.
Rip.
Rip. Duncan Idaho dies at this point trying to hold back the Sardaukar, which are the like prisoner super power enemies of the Emperor. We're gonna be throwing a lot of words at you.
They're like the stormtroopers, right?
Yes.
Of the
Right.
It's Star Wars.
No, the analogy's good. And then Paul's 2 other teacher, Hawat, is captured by the Harkonnens, and he's like used as the Baron's like new second-hand, like right-hand man. And then Gurney Halleck survives and hides with the smugglers. And you will see Hawat and Gurney again later.
Yeah.
So.
And so then this takes us into book 2.
Yes.
And this is when I like this part of the book. I think it's fun. I enjoy getting to know the Fremen. So Paul and Jessica, they think they're going to die. They don't know what they're going to do. They're lost in the desert pretty much, wondering what the hell's going to happen. And they come upon some Fremen. And the Fremen want to kill them for their water because they don't know who they are. And Jessica, using her diplomacy and skills, is able to be like, wait, like, don't kill us, we're so and so, and so then they end up showing their worth, right? Because the Fremen really value people who are capable in battle. They're very like honorable.
Right, so she puts the head honcho of the Fremen in like a neck hold or something. She's like, don't kill me because I just took you down and you gotta respect me now because
Yeah.
Who but a powerful like warrior could have taken you, And they're
Right,
like, oh, okay,
right.
okay.
Right. And so then we meet. Okay, so that's when we meet Stilgar. He's an important character.
Yes.
He's like the Fremen leader, essentially. You know who he kind of reminds me of? Do you remember the movie The Mummy? Did you ever see that one, like the first Mummy with Brendan Fraser?
No.
He
Let me
reminds me of the character Ardith Bay. Um, just like as I was reading, or rather listening, because I did the audiobook. It's like benevolent. He ends up helping like the good guys in The Mummy. And yeah,
Yeah.
he's like of the desert. He's like, I don't know. You have to watch that movie. I feel like you like ancient Egypt, right? As much as I
Yeah.
do. I mean, it's one of the
Yeah.
classics, the early 2000s.
I know. I'll have to have a movie night.
And Brendan Fraser is so handsome
So
and
Stilgar is kind of like that because he's like the head honcho of the Fremen.
yeah, and I think he also he's a good guy. He's
Yeah.
very fair. He really he follows the rules of the Fremen. Like they have their own honor code, and
Which I find kind of like, I don't want to say Neanderthal, like, but there's like a very, like, whoever is more powerful, and if you ever are like undermined, you must kill the person or like fight to the death. There's a lot of fighting to the death that doesn't necessarily need to happen, but that's
they're
just their
warriors. They're
culture.
for sure warriors.
Right.
To me, I think that kind of brutality of their culture is really reflective of the brutality of the climate they live in
Right. Yeah.
because they are the people of the land.
Exactly. Yeah. I think I think Paul like makes a mention though to be like, why would I like, everyone's like, kill you, kill the guy who undermined you, whatever, and he's like, why would I kill the person who's like so beneficial to me right now? Why would I fight
Yeah,
him?
yeah.
That's a little bit ahead, but
So yeah, and then we meet Chani
yes,
or Chaney, sorry.
Chani. I say Chani.
Is it
Chani.
Chani in the movie?
I think it's Chani in the movie. Yeah,
Interesting. In the book, it's Chaney.
Chani. Really?
That was it
A
says that
Chani.
that was Frank Herbert's intended pronunciation.
Janie. Well, so before they meet, though, Paul tries the spice, like what before his dad dies, and he has these visions of this girl, and like he has
Right.
dreams of this girl, and they're like, what? So connected, and have this like super soul connection, and it ends up being Cheney when
Yeah, and she's a Fremen. She's kind of like this little desert princess.
she's more badass than that, but yeah, she basically is.
Yeah, I know, I know. She's well, they're all the Fremen are pretty badass, but yeah, she's
Yeah,
kind of like the sweetheart of the Fremen.
the love interest. Yeah, she's
Oh,
Kyne's daughter.
she's the one who Zendaya plays right in the movie.
Yeah,
But you weren't a fan of the depiction.
yeah. I yeah. I don't care enough to get
You
into
know,
it.
this is a good time to mention, I'm sorry, like something that really bothered me in the book is I wasn't a big fan of the dialogue.
In the book?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
I just felt like it was a little stiff, if
Oh
that makes
yeah,
sense. Like,
bro. Before the second book, I was like, "Am I reading a history book? Like this
I
is
know, and I don't know, it some of it felt so, I mean, stiff is the right word, I guess. Like so formal and it wasn't like the dialogue to me wasn't as natural, even like between mother and son, or I don't know. I felt like, I mean, it was at
yeah,
that point that I looked up when the book was written because I was like, how old is this freaking book? And then it's like 1965, and we're like, oh,
yeah."
kind of made more sense to me.
I definitely felt that. There's like that's why in the beginning I wasn't connecting with anyone. I was like, okay, what happens next? I don't care. Because there was like that separation, that formality. I felt like I was reading a history book. I was like, when am I gonna like these characters?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I also think it might be like, I don't know, when you're like higher class or whatever, because he's like the duke of this entire planet. I'm thinking there has to be like a formality when speaking. It's hard to like be casual. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like yeah, there was maybe a little
Yeah.
in some form. But still a very impressive story and like the entire like just how complicated and intricate all of the entire storyline is in general, it is very impressive, especially for the time.
Right. And I think it's so complicated that there's so much setup that I didn't feel really connected, or like I didn't really love the book until like the second part of the book, which where we are
Yeah.
now.
It's interesting. I feel like I talked to you about this before. Like I kind of feel that way in general when reading a sci-fi or fantasy new sci-fi or new fantasy book. Like there's so many like new names for like the
Yeah.
worlds and the characters and the races and you really need some time to get acclimated to like being in
Yeah.
this different world and realm.
Right.
And sometimes it could be hard and kind of even frustrating because you're like, okay. And it's hard to remember because it's so different. It's like obscure.
Oh, right. I know, thank God my husband like read it like right before I did, cuz I kept asking him like, "What is this? Who is this guy? What does that mean?" I'm
Yeah.
like, and he just explained it. But yeah, it takes a lot, especially with this book. But
So
yeah,
going back to Paul with the Fremen, just so we kind of get through,
yes,
there's like a situation where there's a Fremen named Jameis and he's insulted by Paul and challenges him to a duel, which is the Fremen way. And Paul ends up not wanting to like interact with him in battle, right? At first, and like the
right.
Fremen
And
get pissed.
yeah, the friend were like, "Why is he like playing with him?" But
Yeah.
because Paul is like, do you forfeit?" And the Fremen are like, "That's insulting. Like, just kill him already."
Yep. And so he does.
Yeah.
Paul ends up killing Jameis in accordance with Fremen culture, and so he's rewarded. He's given the name Usul, meaning base of the pillar for his strength by Stilgar, and then Stilgar asks him what name he would like to also adopt, and he adopts the name Muad'Dib,
Muad'Dib.
which literally translates to desert mouse.
Yes, and it's
And
also part of the prophecy.
yes, correct. But he doesn't just go by Muad'Dib. He's like, I have to keep Paul because that's the name my father gave me. So I am Paul Muad'Dib.
Stupid. Like, okay.
Just the juxtaposition of Paul Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib.
But he chooses that name because the desert mouse is like kind of like a mighty mascot. It's this small creature, but it's very well adapted to desert life. It's a little survivor. So it's like a small but mighty symbol.
Right. It's the wisdom of the desert, like within this small being, right? Because they like collect water in their huge ears, and they can like
Yeah.
sniff out moisture in food. It represents like wisdom,
hmm hmm
right?
So, and so this is, yeah, a lot of Arab influence we see, I think, in the Fremen and the Fremen culture, even like the name Muad'Dib.
Muad'Dib.
And then now Paul is like played with visions of the jihad, that's
Right.
the future war that's gonna kill billions essentially across the galaxy under his name. And so, yeah.
Yeah, and he's getting these visions on like the path that he's going on, because he's understanding the prophecy. There's like little instances where people are like, "Oh, is he the Muad'Dib?" And then people are starting to be like, "Oh, he chose the name Muad'Dib. He is." And so there's starting to be like this fanatical like religion that is starting to worship him and like putting him on a pedestal. And so these visions of the jihad is like this religious war that's just like is gonna massacre so many people. And he's like, I don't want this. Like, I'm not your god. In the book, he's like, hey, I'm not a god. I'm just trying to do what's best for the people here. Like, please don't worship me. And in the freaking movies, the guy, Chimney Sweep, is like, I am Wadib. You should honor me. And I'm like, this is not the
What
book.
a surprise.
He doesn't
Well,
know
and
how to act
so
either.
shots fired. Uh, so that's when we start to question and kind of start to get this foreshadowing of Paul being the Kwisatz Haderach, right? So the
Hmm.
Kwisatz Haderach, it's prophesized super being engineered by the Bene Gesserit. So that's why originally they wanted Jessica to have a daughter.
Hmm.
But he ends up essentially being the Kwisatz Haderach. So he fulfills this prophecy
Right.
that it put in place. He's the savior. He's the Luke Skywalker of the story.
Exactly.
I'm
Which
sorry
I
I
don't.
keep doing those parallels, but
No, I
every
think
time
it's
I think of
important.
every time I think of Dune, I think of like Tatooine, you know?
No, literally, that's what it was
Yeah.
inspired by. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh
So
my
it's really
god.
interesting. So,
So
and let's
yeah,
see.
he's with the
So
Fremen.
he's with the Fremen, he's falling in love with Chani, the girl of
Mhm.
his visions.
Yeah.
And Stilgar reveals that there are millions of Fremen who have been storing up massive amounts of water for their dream of turning Arrakis into a green paradise, which Jessica's all for, too.
Right. And I think that's part of the prophecy when they ask Paul like what do you expect to do, like if you're gonna rule, if you're gonna be the new duke since your dad's dead, what do you want? And he's like, well, I want this to be a paradise. I want the people to have water. And they're like, oh my god, Muad'Dib. Like that's part
Yeah,
of the prophecy to create this like water sanctuary on Dune.
right. And Jessica becomes the new Reverend Mother, essentially, which I didn't see coming.
Oh yeah.
Um, she has to drink something called the Water of Life, and she has to absorb the old Reverend Mother's memories and consciousness into her own. However, it's this crazy point in the story because surprise, surprise, Jessica's pregnant.
I know
She's
you're not
pregnant,
supposed to drink the water of life while you're pregnant.
right? And she's pregnant with Leto's other child, so it's Paul's, sis soon to be sister.
Hmm.
She's very early in the pregnancy, so she doesn't show or anything, and so they can't tell. But so she takes the water of life, and the water of life, it's the spices in it, right?
Yeah, it's basically spice that it's like a poison to anyone except the Bene Gesserit and like the Reverend Mother who takes it, because when she takes it, she has to like use her powers to alter the chemistry of it so it doesn't kill her.
And it changes her chemistry, like too, right? Like, and
Right.
it helps her absorb the memories of the old Reverend Mother. So it's like this super psychedelic experience, and
Yeah.
but then it's, I guess, like the Reverend Mother, the old Reverend Mother realizes that at that point that because they like connect telepathically, there's like all this stuff that happens, and then she's like, "You didn't tell us you're pregnant. You're not supposed to take this or you're pregnant."
Yeah, because it's not only like the other Reverend Mother's memories, like Jessica is now absorbing all the Reverend Mother's memories, like all of them.
Yeah,
All of
like
them
all of the Reverend Mothers in the past, right?
before, right?
Like the whole lineage.
Yeah. And so she's absorbing it, but now since she was pregnant, her baby's absorbing it. And now it's this like little fetus that's super conscious that like knows so much in the world that she like Jessica has to go into her mind and like calm the baby down, being like, no, it's okay.
Yeah, she
You,
like creates like a super genius like savant
right.
through this process.
That she can like talk to and like have conversations with. Like, hey, do you think
Wild.
this thing is okay? And they're like, no, yeah, it's fine. Keep going.
I like that depiction there. Essentially, during this time, Paul like learns the ways of the Fremen. He
Mhm.
becomes pretty much as close to a native of Arrakis as possible. He even right develops like the blue eyes
Right.
from the spice. He learns how to ride giant sandworms, harnesses the spice's power, and he unites all the Fremen pretty much underneath him. He becomes like this kind of like this war general. He's a beacon of hope. He's, you know, there for change, for positive change, and he wants to help the Fremen, and so he becomes this very strong ally. And Stilgar is like right there next to him,
Right.
kind of his like second in command.
And that's what like the Fremen are like supporting Paul and being like this war, not war leader, but leader. And the Fremen are like, "Oh, you guys need to fight to the death to see who's the best leader." And then Paul's just, he shuts it down. He's like, "I'm not about to kill my best ally right now. This is not who we're supposed to be. Like, we need to focus on the Harkonnens, focus on the Imperium," which kind of like changes their culture a little bit.
Yeah.
And also like encourages the prophecy of, Muad'Dib is
Yep.
changing it up.
So this leads us into book three.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
kind of like the I would say like the climax, right? The kind of like the peak of the conflict
Right.
that we see. Um, the peak of the revolution.
Yes. It's they're like rallying. So the Harkonnens, as Paul's like in the desert learning the Fremen ways, the Harkonnens are like getting their own stuff together. Beast Raban, who is the Baron's son, or another one of his nephews. He's governing Arrakis, but it's more brutal than ever, and due to attacks led by Muad'Dib, spice production's down, and they don't know that it's Paul. Like they keep hearing this guy Muad'Dib, Muad'Dib. Oh, the Fremen are
Yeah, because
obsessed with this
they
guy,
think they're dead, Jessica and
right?
Paul.
And they're like, "Who's this Muad'Dib guy? I don't like who is that?" And so they're just like, "Oh, it's just their religion fanatics, whatever."
Hmm.
And to mention another crucial character, the Baron's other nephew, Fade Rotha, who like he's obsessed with, like oddly, prepares to take his place as the head of House Harkonnen because the Baron is like plotting.
Is this the Ivanka in the story?
Well, Fade Rotha.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Um, I I wouldn't say that because like Fade Rotha's a fighter and she doesn't know shit.
No, I know, but as soon as you said it, he's like weirdly obsessed with her, and
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, it would be. You're right. Ew, gross. Oh god.
my
But
bad, my bad. No, continue. Sorry.
because like his other nephew Raban is like the production's down, and then the Baron is like, we need more spice. Like you're supposed to like increase the production, and so he puts Fade Rotha in as head of House Harkonnen to like manage Arrakis and to deal with the new Fremen prophet Muad'Dib. And Fade Rotha knows he's all egotistical, like I'm gonna kill the Muad'Dib and whatever. So there's like a duality between I don't know who to compare him in Star Wars. It wouldn't be Darth Vader. Like he's not fighting his own dad, but well, we find out later that the Baron is the father of Jessica.
Right, that's a big.
So
So they're actually Harkonnens.
yes, so
Jessica and Paul.
Paul, they are
Dun dun
Harkonnens,
dun.
and so the Baron, so Fade Rotha would be his uncle. So it's kind of like Darth Vader. You gotta fight
It is. I mean,
your
I think
uncle.
it's definitely. I think it's definitely parallel.
Yeah. So yes, the war's heating up. the Paul Muad'Dib is leading the guerrilla war against the Harkonnens, like killing their soldiers, like sabotaging and stopping their spice harvest, and like kind of building up the strength of the Fremen. Not necessarily like teaching them the voice, but like just teaching them war tactics and how to fight people with like the safety, the shields that they have there on their body and stuff. And in the meantime, Jessica's daughter is born. Her name's Aaliyah. And she's the one who's like this ultra knowing. She freaks everyone out because she's like a newborn that talks like 1,000-year-old sage. And she's kind of sassy. She's like spits fire sometimes.
Yeah.
And it like freaks people out, but Jessica's like, you just have to accept it. Like, she's also a born Bene Gesserit. He's still like, he learns how to ride the worms. His eyes turn blue from all the spice. And in the meantime, as he's like beefing up the Fremen, he finds Gurney Halleck again, who ended up joining the smugglers for the spice, just because he thought Paul was dead. And so now that Gurney Halleck was like leading the smugglers, now the smugglers are on the Fremen side, and like,
yeah, happy reunion.
A very happy, lovely reunion. And this is like, so the second book like it's years. It's like takes years, at least like 4 years, because Aaliyah, Paul's sister, is like 4 years old.
By book 3.
Yeah, by book 3. Paul and Chani have their first son, who's also, they name him after Paul's father, Leto. And Paul takes command of the Fremen. And so the climax of the I don't know, towards the end of the book 3, the Emperor, his daughter, Princess Irulan, which we have not seen. Irulan?
Irulan, yeah. I mean, that's how it was in the audiobook. What was it in the movie?
Irulan.
Oh, she wouldn't be in the movie yet because the movie hasn't come out, right?
She was in the movie.
Oh, she was.
Just mentioned briefly, because she's at the end, but we don't see her at all. It actually, in the book, like, we don't really see her until the very end, which right now, but she's actually before every chapter she like writes a little like script, like, this is what happens, this, and she's actually like documenting the whole events of Arakis.
Yeah, by the Princess Irulan. That's how it, like, in the audiobook it has like these like very like the beginning of the chapters, like, from the prophecy of Muad'Dib. And it's like a different voice that is really funny. It's like, by the Princess Irulan.
I think they said
it's in my head.
Irulan in the movie, because I want to say Irulan. I don't know, they're screwing everything up in the movies.
I wouldn't put it past them with the different Chani versus Chani.
Right. And so Paul is like getting the Fremen ready to attack the Harkonnens. So the Emperor, Princess Irulan are back on Arakis. Aren't typically on Arakis, but they come in, they're like, we need to defeat the Muad'Dib. Gurney Halleck finds the nuclear weapons belonging to House Atreides, which helps Paul fight the Harkonnens. And while Paul is like fighting the Harkonnens, the Sardaukar, the kind of the evil guys, they raid his home and kill Paul and Chani's son Leto.
I was so upset.
I know.
So freaking sad. Why'd they have to kill the baby?
I guess it's like to ruin his morale or something.
But it's, man, I think it's because I have a baby, you know, and I'm like, man.
I know.
Sucks. I hated that part of the story.
I know. I was surprised, to be honest, because I'm like, oh wow, they just kill him. But they have other children. Spoiler alert.
But he doesn't even marry her.
Right. It's the same
She
situation as his
she's
dad.
the concubine,
Right. Um,
even though that's his true love.
but so in the climax war, Paul uses like this huge oncoming storm plus like the nuclear weapons to take down the shield protecting like the Imperial and Harkonnen forces. And the Fremen just totally massacre everyone using like their superior fighting skills and like riding the giant sandworms in. And so the Harkonnens and the Sardaukar, they don't know that the Fremen ride the worms, and so that's another surprising fact in the war because they're like, "What? They ride those things?" And they just eat him. They just like eat the Harkonnens. So
And
funny,
Aaliyah the toddler ends up killing the Baron
right?
because she's captured.
She's captured, and she's just like twiddling her legs, and she's like, "Okay, well, my brother's coming, so you guys better watch out." And she's
And
cute.
she's like, clap, 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 clap. The Baron's gone.
Right. She like talks in riddles and she just like kills him in all the chaos. The other like nephew of the Baron is like killed off screen, and at the very end they kind of like capture the Harkonnens, and Paul forces the Emperor and everyone to like negotiate, and his demands are that the emperor be disposed and live out his days on Salassa Secundus, which is the Imperium prison planet, and that's where like the Sardaukar are from, the prison planet. Paul is going to be the new emperor. He's going to marry Princess Arulin, sealing his power kind of as like a political thing to be like, you can't screw me over because I'm married to your daughter, you know.
Yeah.
But he intends only to be romantic with Chani, which is similar to his dad, right? Where his dad wasn't married, but he still loved Jessica. And like there's a whole bunch of confusing stuff, just like ensuring that all the powers be forced to accept this ruling of Paul. And at the very end, you know what like hurt me a lot was the reunion with Hawat. So while Paul is in the desert, Hawat is like the mentat for the Baron and like kind of helping the Baron unwillingly. But he's like, what else am I gonna do? He's gonna kill me because he like feeds him poison, and you can't leave me because then you'll die, and I can't give you the antidote and stuff like that with Hawat. But at the very end, when like Paul is doing the negotiation, Hawat sees him, and just before they like agree to it, Hawat like dies, and they like get a hug, and that's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn it.
And so then Paul becomes the new emperor, right? He forces the existing emperor to abdicate.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how the book ends, essentially.
Yeah. I think the author intended for like at least 2 more books, but the way it's so heavy that I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I'll be reading those 2 books.
I don't think so either.
What did you think overall of the book? Like what, let's say like out of 5 stars, what would you rate it?
I would say like a 3.5.
Okay. I think I'm at a 2.5. I don't know. I didn't love it. I mean,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. I will say that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it for its status, especially as the precursor to all of these great sci-fi stories that came after it. But I felt, no pun intended, that like a lot of the dialogue and characters were like a bit dry. Or
Yeah.
like dry as Dune, dry as sands.
As Dune. Right. I know it read like a history book where I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't need to read the other books. I think I'm good.
Like
Because
maybe I'll watch the movies, but
I would say watch the movies. Honestly, like, watch the old one.
I don't know.
It's like it's pretty funny. I don't know.
I feel
It's
like
good to laugh at.
I feel like my attention span has severely diminished as I've gotten older. I like can't handle like watching most movies anymore. Or like
Yeah.
especially like new movies. Man, I just like have to be doing something else. Freaking ADHD. I'm just
Oh,
like
with the old one, do something else. Like go ahead, do
color or
something else.
something.
Just look up a couple times because you know how they have like the personal shields,
Yeah.
right? In the old one, they literally animate it. They look like Minecraft. It's just like this gray box and they're blurred. And it's like and you don't see they're like fighting, sword fighting. It's like you don't even see what's going on. It's so
Like two
bad.
boxes fighting.
Literally. Literally.
That's
It's
funny.
so bad. Oh, but yeah, Paul kills Feyd-Rautha too. And then he's like so to go a little bit into the next books, Paul and Chani have two more children. One of them turns into like the sandworm emperor. He like I don't know what how he does it. He like eats a worm or something. Eats part of this concoction that turns him into a worm. Aaliyah becomes this insane figurehead, like religious. She like gets drunk on spice like all the time. She's just this drunk little teenager doing prophecies out in every church on Arrakis.
Wow.
And then Paul's eyes get burned out of his socket, but he can see with his powers, and he goes into the desert to die. And I think that's what the last movie is going to be about. This with
Oh,
Chimney
him.
Sweep,
I see. I see.
but yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that goes down. I'm not going
Well,
to
I
read
think
the
it's
other
good
books.
that we reviewed and talked about Dune, just like in case we end up talking about like other sci-fi books we end up doing. I don't know
Yeah,
if you're gonna listen or read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's a really fun one. That's like a really lighthearted.
yeah.
It's like it's really funny. It's like the whole thing is like it was a really qu I listened to it. It's a really quick listen.
I
I
think it's
think
on
you'd
my
enjoy it.
list.
I think you'd enjoy it. I think it's a really like fun, whimsical kind of. I appreciated the humor and yeah, it's fun.
Okay. Do you see any like correlation with Dune?
Maybe a little bit. It's definitely it's way more lighthearted. It's like meant to be kind of more of like a satire, I'd say.
Yeah.
But there is some parallels. There's some like the computer stuff and definitely there's space travel and um there's like plots. There's always going to be like a plot of the bad guys trying to overthrow the good guys
Right. I
and
know. So,
there's some mice in it too, so I guess like
Muad'Dib.
there's little muad'Dibs. They're not desert dwellers though, but yeah, anyways, it's a
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
But we see like the themes, right? The power and politics, as you're
Hmm.
saying, like the between like marriage and houses and
Hmm.
the manipulation of that, the religion and myth making. I
Hmm.
think because
Well, we
we
see
met,
yeah in the Bene Gesserits in the Fremen.
and the jihad. So at the end, Paul is like he has to accept that he's encouraging the jihad. Like they're gonna worship him no matter
Yeah,
what
or
he
even in the
does.
fact that there are visions and prophecies
Right. Like he just has to accept it. At one point, he takes the water of life. He doesn't tell
himself.
anybody. He doesn't tell anybody. No
Yeah, he just like
prepping.
disappears.
He doesn't have like a babysitter. He just takes the spice and just like
Typical
wipes
man.
out for like a week. He like people think he's dead, but then his mom comes in. He's like, no, I can feel it's very small heartbeats every like I don't know, once a day heartbeat. So he's still alive, but he's basically dead. And he comes out of it, and then he's like, oh, I guess I have to accept. I'm gonna encourage the jihad. Um, and it doesn't really go into with the first book. It does because there was a relationship with the worms and the spice, but the theme of like ecology and how you mentioned too like the harshness of the desert makes the like the Fremen strong and like the harshness of their culture But I think later in the books, because my husband read the next like two, three books, he loves them.
Good
But
for him.
but the so the point of the Fremen, they want to make like a water world. They want to have water be plentiful on Dune, but the sandworms are actually allergic. Like it kills them, the water, and so at one point I think their like water sanctuaries are killing and depleting the sandworms, and so the spice production goes down, and they're like, well, what do we do? Because the resources are finite. The oil, the fossils in the ground are finite. Like we do not have it like an infinite amount of oil in the ground. Like we're going to have to stop burning gas at some point.
Well, I mean, look at the climate change that's been happening in the last couple of years. I mean, I'm in
Literally.
LA and dang, it's been hotter than it needs to be. It
So
is,
early in the year.
dude, like it was like 100 degrees last week.
Jeez.
It was literally like hell. I
I know. And so but it's like
breaking
no,
records out here, ones we don't want to break.
but it's like people, it's you can't stop people from like driving to work, driving to emergencies that rely on the gas. So it's like it still makes money. Just up the price.
Well, that's
Still
the
makes money.
problem. That's the problem is the money. And,
Yeah.
you know, people are more concerned about that. And like with all the lobbyists, there's just not enough push for clean energy. And many people don't even believe that climate change is a real thing. They see like extreme weather, like, oh, it's a snowstorm, so that means it's not getting hot, so therefore no climate change. But that just I think it's important for everyone to educate themselves what climate change actually means. So if we're actually
Right.
seeing, you know, extreme weather on both ends of the spectrum, including the cold spectrum, that is very indicative of climate change because it shouldn't be that extreme, especially when those extremes are happening like at earlier parts of the season or they're breaking records, you know, it's that's not normal. And I
Right.
know sometimes like I was having this conversation with my mom and I'm like, if you see cars, you know, and there's like fumes coming out of the exhaust, how like even just logically, like how would that not affect the atmosphere? Like you see it happen, you smell it, it doesn't smell pleasant. Like how does that not affect like and so many
I know.
and I get it. Like maybe it's part of it. I was thinking too, like the older generation, you know, like the boomers especially. Because I know Adam's mom used to tell me about this, and this is not a thing in Illinois or Chicago where I'm from, so it was like really surprising to me. But that like in the 70s, his mom would have smog days
Yeah.
where the smog was so bad that it was like a snow day in Chicago. Like they would cancel school because the air was so bad. And so I wonder if part of it is like, oh, well, it was so much worse in the 70s and now it's improved. It's fine.
Right. People are like, "Oh, it used to the water used to be so polluted, but now it's good. We used to have smog days. I can see the skyline now." And that's because of law environmental regulations that were put in place because of that.
Which have
But
now gone away again.
well, gone away, but now it's like redlining. It's only when white people are impacted, and so it's
We're not doing enough
disregarded.
is the frickin' moral of the story, guys. We're not doing enough.
Right. Well,
And
it's also
I fear it's like too late already. I don't
we've
know.
definitely tipped some points. I mean,
I hate to be cynical, but
the coral reefs, but no, no, no. But we need to also have hope because I mean, the U.S. is shit right now. But honest, like so many other countries are doing clean energy. Like clean energy has not been so prevalent in all the other countries. People are actually using like algae blooms as fuel to replace like to add to concrete, which makes it better environmentally.
I think one of the most important things is going to be to move away from plastic as much as
Oh,
possible. I think
definitely.
that we still don't understand the negative impact that microplastics have on our environment and our bodies. Like all these like modern studies that are coming out that show that microplastics are present in human semen and in like
Fetuses.
the fetus and the umbilical cord. Like that's terrifying, you
The
know?
depths of the ocean in Antarctica, like
They're
microplastics are
everywhere, and
there.
that's why I'm like, is it too late? It might be too late. Because then it's like you think about and a lot of people don't know this, that there is a freaking Texas-sized continent of just plastic floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Well, that's
Just,
that's what I think. Yes, we need to get away from like we need to stop the production of plastic, but we need to find a way to use our waste of plastic because we've already made a plastic waste. Like we need to reuse take that island and like use
yeah,
it
right.
into something else. I don't know.
Well, I also read, I don't know what the status is on this, but that they discovered like, what is it? They were either worms or like fungus that eats plastic.
Oh yeah, like a bacteria that eats
Yeah,
plastic.
in the
Yeah.
Amazonian rainforest, I think they found it. I hope that they don't like kill off the people that found it because they want to keep making money.
I know. I think we need to like turn off the faucet first. Like we need to stop the drilling, the plastic production, and and then like incorporate these new ways of living. Like we're
What's it gonna take? Tell us in the comments if you have any ideas. I don't know. I don't know. I feel pretty jaded about it. I feel like especially in my generation, I'm a millennial. I'm in my mid 30s and I feel like a lot of us are starting to lose a lot of freaking hope.
yeah.
Just because of how the world is and, these freaking older generations that refuse to relent power and they had the opportunities of the best economy in the world in the history of humanity, and they just took up the ladder up behind them, leaving no breadcrumbs for the rest of us. And yeah, I'm pretty pissed about it. But that's gonna be a talk for a different episode.
Yeah, like me using a soggy ass paper straw and then like we're millions billions of dollars of war and pollution that's going down right now in the US.
Yeah, it doesn't feel too hopeful right now. I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see. I hope that the younger generation, especially like Gen Z, starts to wake up and starts to
I think they are. They already
realize.
are. I
Some, they're not too distracted by social media.
Yeah, no, but there's like multiple groups of Gen Z, like like high schoolers who are literally suing the government because they're like, you're polluting, you know you've been polluting, and you're destroying my quality of life. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, because we have a corrupt government, it's not working out. But I think it's important to have hope, and like, not having hope doesn't mean you can give up. I just want to throw that out because there is
Yeah.
hope if we look elsewhere and not the US right now.
Yeah. So
But
the moral of the story and also the moral of Dune is to keep that hope. So
yes.
that's, I think, where we should
Yeah.
tie it
Wrap
up.
up.
Because we could be talking about this for the next hour. I know that
Oh,
we have a
yeah.
lot of thoughts and feelings about
Yes.
the current state of the world and our country specifically. So, but on
Mm-hmm.
that note, everybody, you should look up your local organizations that are helping to clean up the planet.
A
Earth Day
high
is coming up,
Earth Day
people.
is coming up. I highly suggest the podcast Living on Earth,
Thank you.
LOE.org. They do a lot of like environmental news and a lot of political news. I
Thank
listen
you
to
for
it.
that. That's a
Yeah.
good, I don't listen to that. I'm gonna check it out. And also if you're in the LA area, there is a wonderful nonprofit organization called Heal the Bay. They do beach cleanups once a month. You can go on their website, healthebay.org, and they're free. They provide all the materials. All you got to do is show up on a Saturday. I think it's the third Saturday every month. And they do all different beaches. They go to Santa Monica, they go to Huntington Beach, they go, I think it's like Hermosa, Marina del Rey, anyway. And they provide all of the equipment you need, gloves, buckets, and you just clean up the beaches for an hour of all the trash. And it's incredible. I've done it a few times, and it's incredible to see how
Yeah.
much crap is just sitting in the sand and near the water. And you know what? Even I've seen, like, I live in the Pasadena area, and I've seen this couple that has like matching t-shirts that they've made, and they literally just go out of their on their own account and they collect trash. I see them like with their little buckets, and it's just like an
Oh,
older
nice.
couple, and they're just picking up the trash off the sidewalk.
Well,
So
whenever
it's
you go
like
out hiking, like just bring your old trash bag and just pick it up
you
while you
can make a
go.
difference, and every little bit counts. So like
Yeah.
Ina said, don't lose hope and try and make a difference
I
in
think
your
the biggest,
community.
what the biggest three is your eating habits, going plant based, flying less, and reducing children. But all those three topics are like very personal and like can
Sure,
get real political. So it's hard to talk about. But those are
but stay mindful is
right,
the idea. Like, even if you make a couple of small choices every week, it makes a
right.
difference. And so
And build on it. Like just little steps, but keep going.
just being open to that is important. So, anyways, so thank
I
you.
know, I know we could keep going.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining our podcast. Please, everybody, like and
Yes.
subscribe. Please follow
Yeah.
us for all new episodes. I think our main hub has kind of been YouTube, but we are
Yeah.
also available wherever podcasts are available. So Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all
Okay.
those good places. So check us out. If you have any comments, if you have any suggestions for future books you might want to hear
Yeah, any
about,
science fiction that you thought was inspired by Dune, like comment below.
yeah, we
Yeah.
love to hear from our listeners. So on that note, thank you everybody, and we'll see you next
We'll
time.
see you next time. Bye.
Bye.